Oh look, it's another zombie horror movie. It must be Tuesday. Dead Earth is the story of two women trying to survive in the zombie apocalypse. Yep, it's another zombie movie. Yeah. However, I will say that this one's a little different. The first third to half of this movie really is just showing how these two women are surviving out there alone in this apocalyptic Earth. Like day to day, how they are living their lives during this apocalyptic time. There's not a lot, if any at all, action in the first half, if not 2/3 of this movie. It is legit a granular view of how life would be in the apocalypse. Now that sounds like it could be boring as shit, but honestly, it's actually kind of interesting. We've seen people surviving and living in a zombie-filled apocalyptic world before, but this movie really goes granular on the whole thing. It's showing them how they prepare their food, how they keep the lights on, how they're getting water, what they do for their recreational time. It's just like showing every aspect of their day-to-day life. And surprisingly, it was pretty interesting and entertaining. When I first saw what they were doing, I was kind of scared that this was gonna get boring, but no, they're constantly faced with little obstacles. It's never world-ending stuff, but they are consistently faced with little obstacles throughout the day, and it shows how they overcome those. I mean, little things like how they're gonna cook something, or how to get some more gas for their generator, and stuff like that that to us now isn't really an issue, but to someone in this situation does become more problematic. And it treats these situations more realistically than we typically see in this kind of movie. I mean, they don't just pack up and leave the place that they're held up to go get more gas. It's not that simple, because the world out there is real dangerous and there's just two of them. It's a big ordeal for them to leave their protective sanctum. Neither of them want to do it because they know how bad things can escalate out there. But they take the time and they have all these little things that they do to prepare. And it's real granular, pretty much like it would be or should be in real life for people that would actually survive a thing like this. And I know that this doesn't really sound that interesting and entertaining, but it is. It's kind of neat and refreshing to see a bit of a new take on an old genre. You will start to think in the movie though that that's all it's going to be, and start to wonder, are they going to be able to sustain this for 2 hours? Honestly, I started to wonder, are there even zombies in this world, or is that just what I've assumed that's going on here? Is there actually something else that's going on and I just kind of missed it and expected zombies to be here? But then the last third of the movie happens, and that thing that we've been waiting for out of zombie movies as a whole happens in this movie too. As with all zombie movies, eventually shit goes south and hits the fan. And Dead Earth is no different. And while this last third of the movie is satisfying and entertaining, it does go more into the traditional zombie movie at this point and leaves behind all those new things it's been doing. Well, yeah, I was hoping that something else would happen from what we had been seeing up until that last third of the movie. I was also hoping it would be something as unconventional as the beginning of the film as well. That being said, that last third is still a good time and entertaining, and like I said a minute ago, satisfying. The story here is pretty simple. Two women, outbreak, survive. It does its job to get our characters in situations that we get to see them figure out. That's really what this movie's about, is day-to-day life in the apocalypse and how you legitimately would deal with these situations that come up. That and then a whole bunch of fucking zombies come and how you deal with that. But I mean, once again, that's a situation within this world that you would probably have to deal with at some point. Overall, it's entertaining and it succeeds in what it sets out to do. The movie's a lot more drama than horror, but there's always this ever-present looming doom throughout the film. And the movie does a really good job of conveying that to you, the viewer, without always actually showing it. The performances here are pretty good, however limited. For the most part, it's just two people in this movie. There's a couple of other people that show up real briefly, but for the vast majority of the runtime, it's just these two ladies. Melina Gorham and Alice Tantianon, I think I'm pronouncing those right, play our two main leads. And as a whole, they do a pretty good job. There's a few lines and interactions that are a little stilted, but a lot of what they're doing here is just silent acting. Due to the situation they're in, sometimes they can't always talk. A good bit of the movie is a lot of physical interaction. them motioning to each other what should or should not be done, and using their faces and body language to emote what's going on within them at any given time. Honestly, in this respect, they did a lot better job when they weren't talking than when they did. However, when they are talking in the traditional sense, it's never bad or anything. So all in all, everybody here does a pretty good job. The practical special effects and makeup effects here, while limited, are all really good. In fact, for a smaller movie this size, they were really good. Much better than I was expecting. There's either no or very little CGI in this movie. If there is any, I couldn't pick it out while watching the movie, which honestly is probably the biggest compliment you can give about any CGI. You're not supposed to be able to pick it out, and if it's real enough looking that you can't see it as CGI, then hey, that's a win. But really, I just don't think there's any here. Guys, I had a good time with Dead Earth. It was a nice departure from your typical zombie film, even though, yes, in the third act, it kind of becomes what we expect out of a zombie movie. Everything leading up to that part was something new and pretty fresh, and that I enjoyed. You don't get a lot of originality and new takes in this genre anymore. And while I don't have any desire to watch this movie again, I did have a very enjoyable, entertaining time on my initial viewing. And because of that, I think that Dead Earth is absolutely worth checking out on Netflix. It's a slow burn, but if you've been kind of burned out on zombie flicks and looking for something with a little bit of a different view, then I think you might enjoy this one. So there it is, guys, my review of Dead Earth. If you enjoyed and want more content like this, hit that subscribe button and help my little channel grow. If you liked what I had to say, give me a thumbs up. If not, let me know in the comments below why. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
We have to leave.
So what's gonna be the new thing for zombie movies? You know, you're like slow lumbering zombies were the thing in the original boom back in the 60s and 70s. But then when they went away for a few decades, came back in the early 2000s, it was fast-running zombies doing like fucking parkour and shit. So when they inevitably go away for a little while, probably coming up soon, in a few years when they come back, what's gonna be that thing that brings them back? I mean, with the way that our world's going, as neutered as everybody's getting, by then they'll probably be fucking vegetarian zombies or some shit. You might laugh, but really, look out the window. Is it that out there?
Carrots, salad, beets, lettuce, tofu.
Jesus Christ, I probably just gave somebody a terrible idea.